Good Friday evening, everyone, near and far. Atlantic City, the Atlantic City, the Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone Partnership, Atlantic County, good evening, and welcome to the Friday Atlantic City Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour. My podcast so that I can engage our communities, our nonprofits, our state, local, federal government agencies into a discussion about how we can all work together going into this fabulous 2026, which is a blessing. Every day we get up, this is a blessing. And particularly during this time when we're celebrating Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa holiday, and next we'll be getting ready to celebrate Ramadan in February. So it's a very wonderful spiritual time for us to focus on how we can work together as an Atlantic coastal community to make all of our cities better. Atlantic City, we have a lot of things that we want to see happen better, and Pleasantville has a lot of challenges that they want to see better, and we have some extraordinary mayors in all 6 of these cities that are looking forward to working together as we approach 2026 on a particular project that I'm very excited about, and it's our Tourism District Opportunity Zone. The Tourism District Opportunity Zone. And I'm going to get into a little bit of a description of what that's about, and we're going to take it from there. On December 15th, U.S. Heart hosted, our nonprofit hosted a breakfast with the gracious sponsorship of Resorts Casino President Mark Giantonio and my partner, President of U.S. Heart Cares, Horace Jones, our wonderful office management team led by Sharon Rowe, and it was engaged with something we've been working on for 10 weeks now with Pamela Thomas Fields and Kamal Johnson, some others. And that is a project focused on cybersecurity, workforce training, and attractive cyber security industry, and attracting data industries to our Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone so that we can create some new economic development, particularly in Atlantic City, which all 6 cities will mutually benefit from. So we hosted a breakfast. It was at Resorts on December 15th, 2025. That was the program right there. And as you can see up top here, we have the logos of all 6 coastal cities, starting with Longport, Margate, Ventnor, Pleasantville, Atlantic City, and Brigantine. And this breakfast was organized to set the pace and to set the plan in place for us to collaborate. Collaboration is a big way, is a good way for cities or organizations to come together and create a public-private partnership of sorts, because we don't want to do anything that's going to cost the taxpayers money. So this is all private sector, public sector, nonprofit driven, that we come together and we figure out some solutions on how we can make the goose that lays the golden egg for the state and everybody else, Atlantic City, how we can make the goose healthier and make the goose fatter and ready to make some bigger golden eggs. Because right now, Atlantic City is going through some economic challenges that are not from just within, but from all around America. You know, with all the casinos that have been created in the last 20 plus years, it has really put a challenging hold on Atlantic City's economy. Because for many years now, 30, 40 years, the rise of the casinos in Atlantic City was the panacea to all economic problems. It was going to bring in new investment. It was going to create new jobs. It was going to create new wealth locally and abroad from people that came there and won some of the gambling bets. And that was a good ride for some time. As long as Las Vegas and Atlantic City were the only kids in the blocks with casinos, it was a monopoly. I mean, it was not literally a monopoly. It was just a monopoly because there were only two places where casinos existed, Atlantic City and Las Vegas. But when they changed the laws and allowed casinos at Foxwoods up in Connecticut and the live casinos all over America and, Caesars and MGM has a number. The casinos are in every state, basically, and on tribal nations. That pulled a lot out of Atlantic City. Several casinos over the past decade have closed. I recall one story came out when I think two casinos closed at the same time, and it was like 35 unemployed people right away. Bam. Well, times have changed, and with changing times, the Atlantic coastal communities must come up with some changes on how we do our best business practices that are not just focused on the casino industry. And to do that, we need to have some incentives to attract investors to invest in the Atlantic coastal communities. And the perfect platform to do that is this little thing called an opportunity zone. Now, I've reached out to, like I say, all the mayors. Our wonderful mayor, Marty Small Sr., Mayor Vince Serra, Mayor Patrick Armstrong from Longport, Mayor Michael Collins, who has come on board as our inaugural Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone leadership, the Honorable Mayor Judy Ward in Pleasantville, and Ventnor Mayor Tim Corbell. Now, I wasn't able to do this just by myself, of course. I had the wonderful help of our Atlantic County Commissioner, Michael Ruffew, and also Mayor Michael Collins. He took the lead in terms of reaching out to the other mayors. Of course, Mayor Marty Small Sr. has been a part of our effort from the beginning. As a matter of fact, some of this has been his vision to really technologically enhance Atlantic City, where he's been installing cameras all around the city, about 2,000 cameras with AI cameras in it to help fight crime, support law enforcement. So this was a movement that was already in motion, but its time came together when we had this December 15th breakfast. And the breakfast, like I say, it focused on how we can create new opportunities on entrepreneurial growth, how we can create more opportunities on RX-5 Cyber Guardian, cybersecurity workforce training programs supported by the federal government and the private sector, and how our Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone can have an equitable distribution of resources, which will ultimately benefit all local taxpayers in the 6 cities. Because whatever we do to create more economic growth locally is going to bring in more revenue to local government agencies, going to create new jobs locally for folks in the 6 cities. And together, the cities will prosper and the rising tide will lift all boats. So this opportunity zone, somebody might say, what is this opportunity zone? Opportunity zones were enacted as part of the 2017 Federal Tax Cuts and Jobs Act and are designed to drive long-term capital investment into low-income rural and urban communities. This federal capital gains tax incentive encourages private investors to support investments in designated low-income distressed communities, opportunity zones, census tracts, through participation in qualified opportunity funds. So first, the government has designated areas as opportunity zones where investors can invest funds, and those funds that they invest, they don't have to pay taxes on it, those funds for 10 years, which is very attractive to some entrepreneurial investors. So the one thing is the location of the opportunity zone. The second thing is to have qualified opportunity funds. So we have to create, but the zone has already been created. We're going to focus on creating the funds from the private sector and the public sector to invest in the zone. What's an opportunity fund? Okay, perfect. Here's a definition. An opportunity fund or qualified opportunity fund is a special vehicle to invest in qualified opportunity zone property. Opportunity funds must hold at least 90% of their assets in the qualified opportunity zone stock, partnership interest, or business property. To receive the tax incentive, capital gains must be invested in qualified opportunity funds within 180 days of the date of the sale or exchange, producing the gains. So it's not overly complicated, but you have to have folks at the table who understand the intricacies of the laws that allow you to invest in an opportunity zone as an entrepreneur to make money and to be able to write off your taxes on that investment for 10 years. Right now in Atlantic City, to kind of give you a geographical location of where opportunity zones are, if you go from Pacific Avenue to the boardwalk, to the ocean, and from New Hampshire Avenue to Albany, where Knife and Fork is at, all that area in there, all that property where the Sands Casino used to be in, it's an empty lot, all up and down Pacific Avenue, all of that area is opportunity zone, the qualified opportunity zone. Where they're doing the Orange Loop right now, the development they have going on there, that's all opportunity zone development. How were New Jersey's opportunity zones designated? Designated census tracts were based upon a formula incorporating the Municipal Revitalization Index, MRI, which reflects key economic indicators, e.g., income, unemployment rate, poverty values. That also takes into consideration geographical distribution, access to transit, and the value of existing investments, including those encouraged by state programs and incentives, to ensure throughout the state and the New Jersey congressional delegation prior to the governor's office making the final designation of state opportunity zones. So Atlantic City qualified because there is a high level of poverty in Atlantic City. There's a high level of unemployment in Atlantic City. There's a high level of designated areas in Atlantic City that have some economic challenges. Whereas Longport, Margate, Ventnor, and Brigantine, they have a higher bracket of income in those households. So they didn't qualify. They couldn't qualify for an opportunity zone. Pleasantville is qualified. The entire city of Pleasantville is an opportunity zone, which it should be. And that land in Atlantic City in between Pacific Avenue, the boardwalk, New Hampshire Avenue, and Knife and Fork, all of that area is designated as a qualified opportunity zone. So our plans are to collaborate with all 6 of our Atlantic coastal city leadership, and let's come up with some ideas, some creative, innovative ideas of how all 6 of our municipalities can benefit from working together in the Tourism District Opportunity Zone. For example, let's say that someone invests some money in a new business in the Opportunity Zone through our coordinated partnership. And let's say that that business is going to create 60 new jobs from the beginning to the end, from the shovel in the dirt, from the construction, from the drywall, the painting, from the new businesses that are incorporated in this new property. There may have been a property that already existed and just got renovated. It may be some small business incubators in the building. There may be some condominiums in the building. There may be some small businesses, maybe a coffee shop, maybe a restaurant in the building. Well, let's say that 60 jobs are created out of that Opportunity Zone project that our coalition worked on. Well, out of those 60 jobs, 10 jobs will go to each one of those cities, number one. 10 jobs per city. So multiply that by 600 jobs. That would mean more jobs would go to each one of those cities. Okay, what, that'd be 100 jobs per city? Yeah, say we created a business that created 600 jobs. And this is over a period of time, because none of this is going to happen overnight. It takes patient perseverance and tenacity. Or as I say, patient, tenacious perseverance. Tenacious, patient perseverance equals capitalism, compassionate capitalism that creates new jobs and creates new workforce. And this can all be done and will be done in this focused Tourism District Opportunity Zone Economic Development Initiative we're embarked upon. So let me share a little bit more about the definition of an opportunity zone. And then I want to share some information about a recent visit by the Secretary of HUD, the Honorable Scott Turner, to an opportunity zone in Michigan. So, opportunity zones will make business and real estate development projects in your community more attractive to private investors through a higher effective rate of return on investment. Though opportunity zones, significant tax incentives, through opportunity zones, significant tax incentives for projects that require equity investment, this makes it easier to obtain the finance needed to advance stalled projects and support growth of local businesses. See, this is everything we need right now. We need to be able to finance and advance stalled businesses. We need to be able to advance stalled, affordable workforce housing projects. We need to be able to advance some things that we shouldn't have to go to the taxpayers to pay, but can be generated by new entrepreneurship. These are the kind of things that this powerful, unprecedented coalition of visionary mayors is coming together to discuss. We have to discuss it further to put together a plan of action, and then we have to execute that plan with private sector initiatives. Here's a perfect example. Recently, I talked about this on Mike Lopez's interview, because Mike was generous enough to invite me to his show one day. I think it was a week ago. The Secretary, Scott Turner of HUD, strongly supports and promotes opportunity zones, OZs, as a key to revitalizing distressed communities, citing success in Detroit's Hudson development and aiming to expand opportunity zones nationwide to spur private investment for housing, infrastructure, and jobs, focusing on deregulation and public-private partnerships to tackle housing crisis and homelessness, which we have a couple of issues with. The Secretary views Opportunity Zones as a vital American first tool for economic development, bringing capital into low-income areas for strong long-term growth, as shown by projects in Detroit and elsewhere. Secretary Scott Turner and Opportunity Zones' role as HUD Secretary. Turner promotes Opportunity Zones, advocating for tax breaks for investors in designated low-income areas. Philosophy: he believes Opportunity Zones empower the private sector to build and revitalize communities, reducing costs and boosting housing affordability. Examples: he highlighted major projects like Hudson Detroit as a prime example of Opportunity Zones' success in creating mixed-use development with private investment. Goals: Secretary Turner aims to expand Opportunity Zones and cut red tape to encourage more development, linking Opportunity Zones with addressing homelessness through America's First Principles. Key actions: Secretary toured Hudson Development to promote Opportunity Zones. In this project that he visited, this was a $1.4 billion project. Now just imagine that under the leadership of these distinguished mayors, that we were able to bring in over 5 years, hypothetically, $1 billion of investment, which is not a lot. That's only $200 million a year. But just imagine we bring that in to this tourism district opportunity zone. And let's say that we create several hundreds of new jobs of individuals who now can afford to buy a home in our Atlantic coastal cities because they have income. And also some entrepreneurs locally are going to become millionaires, going to become wealthy, because that's the game. That's the goal of the game, to create some legacy wealth as we support affordability. You know, we want to be able to raise capital to put into scholarship programs for our youth locally, you know, just like the Mighty Small Scholarship Program. I mean, he's putting millions into local youth. Just imagine through private sector initiative like this that we're able to create new local business and local wealth. And through nonprofits like ours, we're able to disperse millions of dollars in scholarships to young people in all 6 cities. That would be magnificent. That would be what this is about. You know, compassionate capitalism, which is what I learned about when I worked for Congressman Jack Kemp, who used to play for the Buffalo Bills, and he started a concept called enterprise zones. Enterprise zones are very similar to what opportunity zones are today. Enterprise zones were designed to attract investment in return for tax incentives and tax breaks. Well, opportunity zones is doing that, but it's just doing it in a much bigger way. President Trump, this is one of his high priorities: opportunity zones, public-private partnerships, collaborations. And if the president and the secretary of HUD is supporting these type of goodwill, compassionate capitalism, local small business growth focused opportunity zone initiatives, well, we should get on top of it. We're not going to be the last ones at this dance. This innovative partnership for the Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone, this is unprecedented. This is something that has been needed for a long time. And these gentlemen, these distinguished mayors, you know, they jumped on it and came up with the idea of working together. And we're just a conduit, you and I. We are advocates of it. We are the entrepreneurs and the nonprofits in the process that they are leading. So let's all get on board and let's go into 2026 strong and powerful and successful and prosperous. Let's go into 2026 better than we come out of 2025, which hasn't been that bad at all. 2025 has been a very good year. So just think we do better. And just think we do better together. And that's what this whole movement is about, is how do we leverage this unique oceanfront opportunity zone. This just so happens to be in Atlantic City geographically, but we all decide to work together as Atlantic coastal municipalities so that we all can benefit. We have some ideas that, I won't go into a lot of details right now because I don't want to talk about it too deeply until it becomes more solid. Because entrepreneurs have to think outside the box. And sometimes all the time when you think outside the box, it takes a little more patience than most people have. So it's better not to put too much out there other than what I'm saying. Right now, I have some brilliant nieces from New York who give me good advice. And they told me through Horace Jones that stay focused on one issue. And the one issue we're staying focused on is this Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone. Because you think about it, and I always put it in the end of anything I post. One thing God is not creating any more of is oceanfront opportunity zones. We have an ocean front. I think Steve Wynn once said, he doesn't know why we don't get it. We have the ocean at our doorstep. This is the jewel of America. The Atlantic coastal communities are the jewel of America. And the gaming industry in Atlantic City just so happens to be the goose that lays the golden egg for all of New Jersey. CREDA, the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority, which for many years has been getting its funding from the casinos, well, those funds have diminished because some casinos have closed, and we have to come up with more creative ways to rebirth, not rebirth. The word I'm looking for is to rejuvenate Atlantic City, to rejuvenate Pleasantville, to grow alongside Margate and Ventnor and Longport. This is a sister city initiative. And it's so powerful. I'm going to share this with you before I close. First, we received a resolution from the Atlantic City Council. This resolution congratulating the RX5 Cyber Guardian graduates and the RX5 Cyber Guardian team for their outstanding contributions to education, workforce development, and public safety. Now, we received this document on May 2nd, 2025, when we graduated our first cohort of Cyber Guardians. This is an official document from the Atlantic City Council government, okay? That's important because it's been memorialized by the City Council. And thank you very much, Mayor Small, Aaron Randolph, Kaleem Shabazz, Maria Laka, Stephanie Marshall, everybody on the City Council, thank you. But our special thank you to Vice President Kaleem Shabazz and Councilwoman 5th Ward Maria Laka, because they really carried this forward with the City Council for us. And, Maria Laka is where the U.S. Hard Office is at, so she actually represents this ward that we're in. So we're deeply appreciative of her good representation. So we first got that document from the City Council of Atlantic City, which is powerful because it's documented now that they are on board with supporting this cybersecurity initiative, workforce training, that we want to place inside the opportunity zone as we move forward, because we got to grow. The business is, the organization is growing, and we're going to outgrow our current office, and we want to move our next office into opportunity zone location where we provide cybersecurity and AI workforce training. So then on December 15th, the Atlantic County Board of County Commissioners legislative branch presented a proclamation supporting the U.S. Hard Cares and the creation of the Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone. So you see, first, we had the support of the City Council for the cybersecurity workforce training that we're doing. And then on December 15th, this month, we received support from the Atlantic County Board of County Commissioners legislative branch regarding the Opportunity Zone initiative that we're doing with the mayors. This is remarkably profound that we have both the local government leadership and the county elected leadership and then the municipalities coming together in this unprecedented effort to really make a non-casino change in Atlantic City. They have 3 new casinos opening up in New York. When those 3 casinos open up in New York, just like Michael Lopez said, AC Mike said on his show on WND, Atlantic City is not going to be the only city that's impacted. All of the Atlantic coastal cities will be impacted. It's going to suck some of the air out of us. And we've got to take some proactive steps now. It's going to take them maybe 2 to 3 years to build those casinos up there. Well, the next 2 or 3 years, we need to be rebuilding our Atlantic coastal economy and focus on this new growth industry, which is cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, et cetera, the data industry. We have an opportunity to become that. We have the local leadership ready to lead that. So we have to create use of this platform that brings the money. You remember that movie that Tom, what's the guy named? Tom Cruise and Cuba Gooding Jr. made called, he would say, "Where's the money?" Okay, that's what we got. We got to get the money into Atlantic coastal communities for growth. And we're going to start by doing that with our wonderful graduation of our second cohort of Cyber Guardians on January 24th. We're going to have some meetings with these distinguished municipal leaders to come up with a plan that we're going to share with everybody because we're always going to keep everything very transparent with the public. We want you to see this process as we grow this process and it becomes reality. We want you to be a part of it. If you're a small business owner, when we start having these meetings, please come out to these meetings and these breakfasts and these lunches and participate and learn how you can be a part of this new growth, this exciting new growth of the Atlantic Coastal Tourism District Opportunity Zone. So this is Jimmy Whitehead. I'm going to get ready to check off here now. I hope, again, I pray that everybody had a wonderful Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa. I hope everybody's family has stayed safe and healthy. You know, there's a new flu going around. So I pray that all of you have a blessed New Year's as we approach the next year. It's going to be 2026. Okay. We made it. We made it through a lot. And we have a lot further to grow and go. So let's unify, let's collaborate, support what we're talking about, support what we want to do, please, because we can't do it without your support. We need your support to make this all happen. So thank you very much. This is the Atlantic City Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour saying good night to everyone. I had the most wonderful call I could get on Christmas morning from a very special friend that told me that God is working with us. We thank God for everything. We thank God for Mayor Marty Smalls' seniors family. Bless them as they continue to lead this city in the right direction and continue to get those scholarships for those kids. and continue to pave the streets because we got to get Atlantic City ready for this new wave of growth that's going to come out of this magnificent Atlantic coastal tourism district opportunity zone. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. This is Jimmy White here. Check out. Bye bye.